Hello again. Okay, so now we're going to be going over the issues that have kind of not helped the U.S.-Iranian relations. We're going to go a little bit more into detail about what's going on right now. And, the political cartoon I kind of find about this, this is probably actually my favorite one, just because, I don't know, I guess I'm a big Disney fan and it's Pinocchio, so I don't know. But you have the big, Ahmadinejad's big nose saying, that's America and Israel, but he's saying, of course our nuclear facilities are for peaceful purposes. Why do you ask? So, kind of goes into the deception we've experienced with Iran and, things that they've said, but then their actions on top of that, and why that's not helping our engagement issues with Iran. Alright, so if you'd like to go to the next slide, the issues we're going to be talking about are terrorism, and then we're going to go into Iran's nuclear program and why that's been an issue, and then also we have, we're going to go into some ideological issues, especially since we're talking about the youth of Iran and what, what's going on with them and why we're waiting for them to come into power rather than mainly working with the current regime. And then also we're going to be talking just a little bit about Israel, since that's a really big issue in the Middle East right now, especially with Iran. So it kind of seems to be a little bit of a triangle between, the issue with Iran and Israel and America right now. So if you'd like to go to the next slide, we are going to go ahead and go into terrorism. Terrorism seems like Iran has kind of gone back and forth on terrorist issues, and whether they agree with it or not agree with it, or help the terrorists or go against the terrorists, which has been kind of schizophrenic like the Obama administration. But I'm going to go ahead and go into the next slide, and I'm going to be talking about the direct threats that we're experiencing with Iran right now, and how this is kind of leading to our non-engagement policy. So the threat. This is a definitely, a direct threat in that Iran could step up acts of terror against U.S. troops deployed in Iraq and Afghanistan. This is a huge issue, and obviously terrorists have, hit us pretty hard, and they are hitting everybody else pretty hard in many areas in the world, and it's just kind of not a good situation, and, they could step up those acts and make them a lot worse and make them a lot bigger. And, personally, my fear is they could do something like build a nuke and blow up all of Israel like they've said. So, that is kind of an issue for a lot of Americans. Also, the Iranian, like I said, the Iranian government is known for sponsoring terrorist attacks. This isn't something that's a thought or anything. It's a fact. They're known for sponsoring these terrorist attacks. And also they've hindered the Middle East process by arming Islamic militants. So, you have Muslims who are the militant Muslims, and, they want their weapons, and so they can perform things like terrorist acts. And, just as a side note, Islam is a violent religion. They're ordered to slaughter any, infidel, I guess you could call it. Anyone who's not Muslim, they're ordered to conquer and slaughter. So, I just wanted to kind of add in there. So the fact that they're arming these Islamic militants is not making the situation any better with that. And then, if you'd like to go to the next slide, one of the terrorism examples I want to give you, just so you're not like, wait a minute, like she just said it's a fact, well, can you prove it? Okay, so Iranian officials were involved in both training and assisting Saudi Hezbollah operatives in executing the 1996 terrorist bombing of the U.S. military housing facility over in Saudi Arabia. This not only killed 19 people, but it wounded 500 people, and 240 of those people were U.S. military personnel. And Iran was without a doubt there in every step, just building the plan and, just carrying it out and just helping these Islamic militants. And if you'd like to go to the next slide. Now we're going to go into the next issue, which is Iran's nuclear program. This is probably the biggest issue today just because, you know, right now we don't really see what's going on and we don't know the truth of what they're doing and like what kinds of nuclear things they're working with, and they're not cooperating with anybody. And I just kind of picked this political cartoon of, you know, you have Iran and they have, you know, their little nuclear projects going on there, or babies, and, you know, the snake's like, you know, don't worry, my babies are going to be harmless. But that's, you know, pretty much what's going on in American thought, is just the fact that, you know, they're probably lying about it, and they're probably building a, you know, for nuclear weapons purposes, which is definitely something we don't want at all, for them to get any hands on nuclear weapons. So, I'm going to go into some nuclear issues. The International Atomic Energy Agency, I mean, the short version is the IAEA, might sound a little more familiar to you, but they've worked to clarify Iran's nuclear program since 2002, but Iran had failed to report on many critical issues. These weren't just little issues, they were critical issues. So, you know, because they weren't clarifying that, and they've been doing it for such a long time, and it's just, you know, like, they're just not being completely honest with the agency who's supposed to be, you know, protecting, and, you know, the rest of the world from, you know, getting, like, nuclear, I guess you could say, I don't want to say disgraces, but, you know, just basically using nuclear weapons for not so honorable purposes. But also another nuclear issue, because of this, sanctions are definitely encouraged. The IAEA has definitely pushed, you know, the rest of the world to kind of put their sanctions on Iran, to kind of get them to fess up to what they're doing and trying to get them to open up and talk. And also, this is extremely important. Just last year, in 2011, the IAEA confirmed that part of this nuclear development of, you know, everything they've been building, like with nuclear atomic energy, it definitely had to do with explosives. So, you know, there's proof there, you know, that they are working to build these explosives, and that's definitely been an international concern, and not just a concern with America, and especially in the Middle East when it comes to Israel. So if you'd like to go, so now that I've mentioned Israel, I'd kind of like to go into the issue of Israel. Just kind of short and sweet, you know. I'm sure you guys have been kind of watching the news and seeing what's going on over there, and what's going on between Iran and Israel and the U.S., and how it's just not friendly relations at all. Basically, there's no truce right now whatsoever. Iran still hasn't even recognized Israel's right to exist as a state, so you know, they don't even really recognize them. And also, Iran's nuclear weapons program is suspected to have increased their development speed. So, you know, you kind of don't know what they could be used for, especially when it comes to their issues with Israel. You don't know if, you know, because currently Israel's wanting to attack Iran right now, and they say they could do it without the U.S.'s approval, and, you know, if it happens, it happens. But you know, Iran is wanting, you know, like, Iran definitely has the possibility if they get attacked to strike back, and you know, it could be an issue as far as trying to get peace over there right now. So the Israelis have definitely openly considered unilateral action to strike Iranian nuclear facilities, despite the potential for the widening regional conflict. So that's a little bit about Israel. Now I'd kind of like to go into the ideologies. I kind of show these two pictures because I want to show everyone that not everyone thinks the same way over there. There's, like, yeah, there's Muslims that are against the U.S., there's Iranians that are against the U.S., there's probably Americans that are against the U.S., but I just wanted to show you over there in the Middle East, and in Iran specifically, that there are people who don't agree with being in war with Iran, and they do want peace, and they want those negotiations. So, you have one picture that does show, the Muslims who are saying, like, down with the USA, but you also have the other side, and, over here we've got the Women Against War, sorry, and you have that sign that just says, "Please, not another war," and this is a billboard in Iran right now, and it's "Let's negotiate with Iran," and, they just, there's people who want that negotiation. There's people who are more moderate, who want peace, and those are the people that, need to come to power, but, as I stated earlier, we need to wait for these and encourage these people to come into power, and unfortunately a lot of them are from the younger generation and not necessarily the traditional older generation or current generation right now. So I'd like to kind of go into the ideologies of the younger generation, since this is a really big part of our argument. A series of studies, and kind of going to go over religious details right now. A series of studies from 1974 to 2003 indicate that religiosity has definitely declined over there, with the younger generation. And, like, beliefs in heaven and hell remain high. People are still, saying that they're true and all that kind of stuff. And also, another thing that has declined is self-identification of the religion. So, like religious daily prayers and regular attendance in mosques, those actually have declined when it comes to the younger generation. And also, social religious practice has actually increased. So, I guess the whole trend here with all of this is that social and family ties do increase, and they increase the religious practice, but political ties definitely weaken the religious practice. So, there are people, who are, religious, but, it isn't about politics for them. It isn't about the government for them. And, we do need to kind of reach out to this younger generation. So, if you'd like to go to the next slide, I'm going to keep talking about the younger generation.